is going on, Gator fans? Here we got ourselves another article from Saturday Down South, written by Neil Blackmon for Florida Gators basketball, and he's going to explain to you why Florida is starting to look more like a number one seed for the NCAA tournament coming up. Florida's the reigning national champion, but Todd Golden wanted this Gators team to write its own story. That story now includes at least a share of the regular season of the SEC regular season championship, which the Gators can win outright with a win on Tuesday night against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. That game will be at 8 o'clock on SEC Network. If the NCAA selection committee does its job properly, that story will also include a number one seed in the NCAA tournament come Selection Sunday. How could anyone reasonably argue otherwise, or watching the Gators dismantle red-hot Arkansas 111 to 77 on Saturday night in an electric sold-out Stephen O'Connell Center? The stakes of Saturday's night contest with number 20 ranked Arkansas were evident all week. Gainesville buzzed with an excitement befitting the national basketball power it has become, with old men in coffee shops talking about a chance to clinch at least a share of the SEC championship, and kids on school buses fired up that college game day would be in the building. Writing its own story, this version of Florida, the latest brilliant iteration of the SEC's best basketball program this century, met its biggest moment to date. And I think I even said in the video before, that was the best win of Florida's career and the best performance, not the best of their career, of the best win of the year and the best performance by far. That was not a bad Arkansas team. Arkansas was not Ole Miss or LSU or South Carolina or Oklahoma, where you expected a domination, but they're a really good basketball team, and Florida just made it look like it was AAU going up against the NBA. John Calipari's immensely talented team came into Gainesville having lost just once in the month of February. Side note, Florida did not lose a single game in the month of February, and that loss was a 2-point double overtime thriller at Alabama in one of the best college basketball games of the regular season, ranking fourth nationally in offensive efficiency behind magnificent freshman guard, All-American and SEC Player of the Year candidate Darius Akuff Jr., who scored an astonishing 49 earlier this season in said defeat at Alabama. Arkansas figured to test the Gators defensively in a way that hadn't happened since a daunting non-conference gauntlet that saw the Gators drop close games to potential NCAA tournament number one seeds Duke, Arizona, and UConn. Challenge accepted. On Saturday night, in Gainesville, Akuff was contained, frustrated by Florida's physicality, length, and limited to just 17 points. He compounded the difficulties with 3 turnovers, all while shooting a season-worst 5 of 16, from the floor. Containing Akuff was important, but only one chapter in a 40-minute tale of dominance. In equaling the worst defeat ever handed to a John Calipari team, Florida was better in every facet of basketball. Florida's defense contained the high-octane Razorbacks from the perimeter, limiting Arkansas to just 4 3-pointers, 2 of which came when the game was well out of reach, and forced Arkansas to make tough twos over length all night. Arkansas missed 15 layups after entering the game, shooting 57.3% from the field. Wasn't close to that against the Gators, finishing 42% from the 2 on the evening against Florida's massive front court. Florida was better offensively than the Razorbacks too, burying 8 3-pointers at a 42% clip in opening drive lanes all night long, which the Gators cashed in for a staggering 23 layups and dunks. Florida had the deeper, more productive bench, led by the blossoming 8th man Isiaha Brown, who scored 11 points, made 2 threes, added the instant energy defensively on Akuff and the Arkansas guards, and consistently found his way to the paint as a driver, helping the Gators dominate the Hogs 56-44 in the paint. Brown was an incredible plus 21 in box plus minus in the opening half, helping the Gators turn a 5-point deficit within 14 minutes into a 19-point lead at intermission. Florida stars showed up too. Thomas Hoggs, Florida's do-everything All-American candidate and likely lottery pick, was the best player in the building, restuffing the stat sheet with 22 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, and a steal. In the second half, Hogg was switched to primary defender on Arkansas wing Billy Richmond, who torched Florida for 14 in the opening 20 minutes Richmond was less effective thereafter, shooting 3 for 8 in the second half with 2 turnovers. Ruben Chinilu, Florida's mountain in the middle, posted 12 points and 16 rebounds for his 17th double-double, the most among Power 5 players this season. The Gators, and I think, if I'm correct, I think I said it again, he tied, or at least I typed it in the description of the previous video, he tied Florida for second most double-doubles in a season. The Gators, not coincidentally, are 17-0 when Chinilu registers a double-double. Florida's much maligned backcourt, the subject of extensive criticism during Florida's sluggish start, was marvelous. Xavian Lee continued his upward trajectory of play, diving into the paint and finishing at the rim on his way to 13 points and 5 assists. Xavian Lee effort play also settled the Gators early. By trailing 36 minutes into the game, Lee missed a three-pointer, but dove between 2 Arkansas players for a loose ball and quickly calling timeout before Arkansas could get on the floor and secure a jump ball. It was great to see X dive on a loose ball like that, you know. It set the tone for the rest of the game, Florida junior forward Alex Condon said after the victory. It was Condon, of course, who dove on a loose ball to secure the national championship against Houston a season ago, making him a most fitting player to discuss the impact of Lee's loose ball effort. I think everyone's saying that, you know, X is not the biggest guy, but he's just playing as hard as he could. You could see that it really set the tone for the rest of the game, I think. Florida scored 20 of the next 26 points, including a 12-0 run to seem to rattle the younger Razorbacks. It wasn't just Lee. Urban Klavzar, the Slovenian sniper, shooting 41% from the 3 on the season, continued his spectacular run of play, knocking down 4 triples and posting a game-high plus 31 in the box plus minus. Boogie Fland, playing against his former school, was terrific in the second half, scoring 14 points and dishing out 2 assists on an efficient 4 of 5 from the floor in the final 20 minutes, in addition to his now signature tremendous perimeter defense. A season ago, Florida won a national championship led by one of the greatest backcourts in SEC history. But it was the front court trio of Hogg, Chinilu, and Condon that provided the complementary grit to the backcourt's title-winning swagger. This season, Chinilu, Hogg, Condon, and key reserve Micah Handlogton have transformed into one of the greatest front courts in SEC history. The Florida's backcourt becoming a capable complement plenty good enough to win a championship. Write your own story, be your own team. That's what Todd Golden, now just one victory away from becoming the fastest Florida head coach to 100 wins, is doing with this group of Gators who can now forever call themselves SEC champions. As I continue in my career, you just realize that every year is different, Golden said after the game, donning a backwards SEC championship hat and fresh championship t-shirt. Every team is different, and we were incredibly fortunate to return some really impactful players off of that championship team. But you know, it took us a while to get comfortable and find our own way. The credit that this team deserves more than anything is staying together, believing in each other when guys weren't playing at their best, not pointing fingers. Our staff did a great job keeping our guys aligned and on the same page. As I've said before, even when we were 5-4, we thought we had a chance to have a special season if we just improve incrementally over the year, and we've done that. I think we're playing as good a brand of basketball as any team in the country right now. They are. But Golden and his team know there are more games to win. The SEC championship celebration was hardly over when the calendar quietly slipped from February to March. But in a week with 2 resume opportunities, Florida didn't just pass the test. It made a statement that the story of this Florida team might end the way last year's Florida team finished, with orange and blue confetti falling on the Final Four floor. Well, with what happened last night, it's really hard for me to doubt how high this Florida ceiling is. And now they are SEC champions in the regular season for an 8th time. It's awesome to see. It is awesome to see this Florida team get that conference title, something that they were gunning for this year because they didn't get it last year, and now their determination paid off. Now they just have to win against Mississippi State Tuesday, and they got it sole possession. And then they're going to finish on the road at Lexington the following Saturday, next Saturday after the Mississippi State game. Honestly, I wouldn't want them to lose to Kentucky because I don't want them to lose their chance at the number 1 seed. But if they were to, I wouldn't be that upset. So I just want to see Florida take care of business Tuesday night and put a bow on the SEC game, on the SEC title, as on their aspirations. Excuse me, man, I could not get my words there. Put a bow on their SEC title aspirations and have it for them and them only. I said it last night and I'm going to say it again. SEC hoops run through Gainesville.